In the beginning, when humans were young and could not yet speak, they looked at the stars at night and felt small. As time passed and men began to speak, they started to ask questions and in their small minds allowed their imagination to give them answers to questions that had no answers. Having no logical answers to these questions, they then came up with their own answers to those questions that had no answers. Have the universal laws established during the creation of this universe been substituted with man-made principles and philosophies? And have men tricked us to believe that their principles will also cause balance and order instead? I believe they have, and I will explain why. First, it is important to understand that we exist in a universe that is in a balanced state. A state that is in order because of its observance of the universal laws that were established during its creation, that govern the universe. The planet we call Mother Earth is also subject to these universal laws, and was created under these universal laws. This planet may be the only planet in the universe that has the ability to create and sustain life. This planet is a self-contained, self-supported entity that reuses its limited resources to sustain the life that it has brought into existence. Mother Earth provides all the elements needed for the existence and survival of its inhabitants. Know this. The universe is in a state of balance under these universal laws. The universe is in a perpetual state of balance and order under these universal laws. Mother Earth is governed by these universal laws, and at one point in time, was also in a state of balance and order. Know this also. This planet is no longer in balance because the inhabitants no longer follow the natural laws of the universe. They no longer obey these laws because of choice or through force. The world we live in now forces all life to obey and live under the laws of men. These laws were created by men and are enforced by men. The world we live in today is a world dominated and controlled by the principles and philosophies created by the imagination of men. The principles and philosophies we follow now are not the ancient principles that cause balance, but the principles and philosophies given to us by the men who have conquered and enslaved the world population. Understand this. Over the past 3,000 years, those of Northern European descent have conquered and enslaved the population of the world. They have destroyed all traces of the conquered people's history, then replaced it with their version. They forced the survivors to stop worshipping and to believe in a religion that causes them to worship their conquerors. They did this using the man-made principles of fear and violence. They infiltrated other societies by using their ability to present themselves as being a good person who only has their best interest in mind. This is truth. The Northern European or the Caucasian race of people have no known history until about 4,000 years ago when a small group of Semitic people came down from the Caucasus Mountains, in Central Europe. They were uneducated people living in caves with their animals. About 3,800 years ago they were discovered by black African Moors that were on a journey through the European coastline. The Moors described them as a starving people living among the rocks. They were a people that lived with their animals that were also causing them sickness. Their animals were infested with pests and transmitting disease because they had no knowledge of hygiene. They were indeed savages, living in violence, filth, sickness and disorder. The Northern European weaponized African knowledge and wisdom. Did you know that it was the black African Moors that introduced knowledge and hygiene to the Caucasians during the time of their leadership in Europe? It was about 1800 BCE that the leaders of the Moors influenced the people we now call Romans and Greeks to attend the free African universities located in Kemet, Egypt. The Egyptians instructed the Romans and Greeks in astronomy, medicine, agriculture, science, engineering, architecture, math, philosophy and many more fields of study from these free universities. But the Romans and Greeks took this knowledge and weaponized it. They used their principles of war and enslavement to capture a people, then used the knowledge they learned to control and pacify the conquered people. This is how Northern Europeans build a civilization. Step 1. Infiltrate and befriend a people, then conquer those people. Step 2. Kill all that refuse to obey their rule. Step 3. Share their DNA. All male conquerors were allowed to mate with female citizens to create a people of mixed race. Step 4. Teach the children a new language and history. Step 5. Force the adults to accept a new religion to replace their old worship practices. Step 6. Reward all citizens that exhibit obedient behavior. These principles were taught and enforced using the man-made principles of fear and violence, causing the citizens to obey and worship their new leaders. Now, all you need to do is look around and see what or who, is in control? Are we being controlled by the universal laws that exist within all living creatures causing balance and order? Or is it the principles and philosophies, created by our Northern European conquerors, and given to us through their approved organizations, of man-made laws, knowledge, and religions,